Welcome, everyone. I'm Maggie Kaspersky. I'm ACTO's Director of Communications and Marketing. I'm subbing in today for our Professional Development Subcommittee Chair, Danielle Calcagni of New Jersey DOT, who was unable to make it. So you're stuck with me. But thank you for joining us for this webinar on incorporating paid digital ads into your communications toolbox. We've got 4 great speakers with some experience on this topic. So it's going to be a really great webinar. This is part of AASHTO's Committee on Transportation Communications, or Transcom's mission to facilitate the sharing of best practices among state DOTs. Membership of this committee is comprised of the top communications officials at all 52 member DOTs. That's all 50 states plus DC and Puerto Rico. Among other activities, Transcom hosts an annual meeting that focuses on best practices, state-to-state collaboration, and professional development. I'm excited to announce that Transcom 2024 will be held in Atlanta. One of our speakers today is from GDOT, so thanks for hosting us at Transcom this coming year. From September 22nd through 25th, registration will be available this afternoon. I'm going to be sending out an email, so that's very exciting. This particular webinar and all in our series is open to anyone and everyone, so feel free to share information on this series with colleagues and friends. Doesn't have to be within a state DOT. A lot of times other state agencies or the private sector get something out of this as well. This presentation will be recorded and uploaded to the Transcom website, which is transportation.org/communications, where you can learn about Transcom's regular webinar series and other Transcom information. Just a few things before we get started. Please type your questions that you may have into the chat box or to the Q&A box. We're going to get through all presentations and then go to Q&A at the end, but I promise we're leaving plenty of time for that. On to our speakers. Carol Breen has worked in communications at the New York State Department of Transportation for 18 years, working in press, event coordination, social media, web development, and much more. She now leads marketing, creating strategic internal and external educational campaigns, and handling all non-press communications. Next up, we'll have Ron Battle. He's the Digital Services and Web Strategy Manager for the Georgia Department of Transportation Strategic Communications Office. He manages the agency's web portals, social media channels, as well as various other digital platforms. Ron has over 25 years of experience in digital communications and web management. He holds a bachelor's degree in journalism from the University of Georgia. Next, Jennifer Nisosis. I got that right? Okay. Is the statewide social media manager at the Virginia DOT. Jennifer joined VDOT in December 2019. The favorite part of her job in social is finding the perfect gift. Last but not least, we welcome John D. Rivers. John is Director of Communications for the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. He leads a great team in the Office of Public Affairs, which provides communications strategy, planning, and support for the agency's 6 divisions in the Secretary's office. They're very busy this year, especially because current AASHTO President, Craig Thompson, is from Wisconsin. So welcome to all of our speakers. We're going to present in order of introductions. So Carol, I'm going to turn things over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie. It's great to be here today with everybody. I'm just going to share my screen quickly here. It's gray and rainy here, but I hope some of you have the sun on your side. So today I'm going to talk about 2 things. The first is investing in yourself. That's something that we found critical to upping our game in marketing. I know there's some very small shops and there's some very big shops for the communications teams across the country. But we were able to make a case that we needed a professional photographer and videographer, and that we needed to give them the correct equipment. And that meant cameras and tripods and all of the little things that go along with that, plus the big stuff. So we made that case and we hired somebody on. I think a professional photographer and videographer really add polish to what we're doing. If we have to, we can all take a video on our phones, but having that extra editing skills and the right software. It's helped us do better planning and create media that is more engaging with people and really meets our strategic goals. We already had on staff a highly skilled graphic designer. That's also important. A lot of the digital ads that we do, they're very small, and we can't even use pictures on them. So it's really important to have somebody skilled that can change the sizes on what you're doing and make your message work in all different shapes and sizes. And then again, we invested in quality equipment. So anything you can get to kind of up your game in that area, I think is very helpful before you even start the digital advertising. So the second thing is to be the most efficient. I would recommend using a media buyer. And I'll go through my some of the things I tried to do and the failures that we saw on the next slide. But a media buyer can really give you a lot of in-depth research right off the bat. They can see where your target audience is and how best to get to them, what digital platforms you want to be using to make the most of your money. They also give you optimization guidance. Again, get the most bang for your buck that you can, and they know how to do that. They'll give you detailed tracking analysis afterwards, which is a lot easier than trying to track all of that yourself, and streamline billing. So you have to pay one person for this service instead of paying 10, 15, 20 different outlets on their own. So we've found that to be extremely helpful. So what we did for our recruitment campaign, we basically used the same ad and just rejiggered it. Some of these are a little, I had to blow them up because they were very small sizes, so they might be a little pixelated. But these are some of our digital recruitment ads. And what I tried to do, this was the first time we did it, was I reached out to small newspapers around the state. We already had a billboard campaign in the big cities, and we were trying to hire snowplow drivers, and we were getting them. We were getting people in the big cities, but the small counties that are very rural and don't have a huge population, we weren't getting there, and it was hurting our ability to respond to weather incidents. So we went to the local papers. We made these ads, and we took out the same ads in places across the state where we were really desperate for people. It was a lot of research to find which places were gonna give us what we needed, that we're gonna have the reach that we were looking for. Each outlet, of course, wanted to upsell us, and well, we have these 5 papers that we manage. Why don't you go in each of them? And is that cost effective? That was difficult for me to find out. I was not really able to pull together any analytics on how it worked or how many people it reached, other than the very limited information I received from each outlet, which was more like, well, 30,000 people look at this a day, so that's who it reached. And I had to deal with billing each of them separately, and that was kind of a nightmare because usually the salesperson and the billing person are different. So different names are flying around, and I'm trying to track receipts and make sure that my admin person has everything she needs. It was very overwhelming for me. That's not my strong suit. My strong suit is communications. So getting that media buyer on really did a lot to make this easier for us. We just have to create the content, and we give it to them, and they do the work, and they let us know how it worked out afterwards. And it was really, really beneficial for our shop. So I would recommend investing in your communications office in terms of people and equipment, if you can, as much as you can, and using a media buyer. Those 2 things really helped for us.
Thank you, Carol. I know that from what I saw, there is a slide of Carol's contact information if you have additional questions. However, at the end, I will have a slide during the Q&A of everybody's email that's presenting today, because I think there will be some follow-up. Okay, next up, Ron, you are next. You're muted.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
All right. So GDOT, we kind of started off slow with the use of paid digital, but I would say over the last year and a half, we've increased the usage of this communication tool, and we plan to continue expanding use. So I'm gonna talk about our journey into paid digital and how we're using it. All right, so we actually began using paid digital in 2020, and this was really at the beginning of the pandemic. And this was an effort to promote and increase the reach of our public awareness messaging around GDOT's major transportation projects across the state. But since then, the majority of our paid digital campaigns have been really for key projects. That's how we've pretty much used our paid digital, is around some of our major projects that take place around the state. Most of these projects are within Metro Atlanta, which, as you know, is a major economic and public population hub for Georgia. And most of these projects are typically along major highways, with heavy traffic volumes and within densely populated areas. And project work typically takes place in a series of stages or may impact commuters and residents over an extended period of time. Or project work may involve transportation terms or safety configurations that the public is unfamiliar with. And so, because of that, like I said, we've primarily focused a lot of our paid digital around major transportation projects. And we also want to reach, a lot of times we want to reach specific audiences. If this isn't our transportation project is in a particular community that is heavy, let's say it's a Spanish speaking community or a diverse community, we'll focus our attention on those areas as well as to increase public engagement. So a lot of our transportation projects that we've done paid social for or paid digital have been around really expanding uh, public meetings. We do a lot of virtual public meetings. We have a lot of comment periods around these projects, and we want to really point people to this information. And so we do a lot of paid digital to kind of attract people and make them aware of these public engagement opportunities. So one of the keys to our experience in terms of paid digital is selecting the right target audience, right? So, if you really want to have a successful paid digital campaign, you need to identify the target audience early. And so that means, first of all, evaluating the campaign goals, um, and what are the stakeholders, what are the groups, what are the people that are a part of this campaign? What are they trying to reach? What are their interests? And also identifying those specific geographic areas. So again, selecting the target audience and identifying that early is going to be key to being successful. Um, Another way you can identify your target audience is through research. So what we typically do is we conduct research uh, to identify, who our target audience is. Sometimes what we'll do is actually create personas. So it could be commuters or residents or business owners, local municipalities, first responders, schools, but we'll try to establish some type of persona to determine who we're trying to reach, what their interests are, and how best to reach out to these groups. Also, one of the key elements of successful paid digital campaigns is developing a content strategy. So, what we like to do is we like to test a variety of different ad types. So, I would recommend, kind of testing out different types and sorts of graphics or videos, depending on what platform you want to choose. So, I guess it really depends on the digital platform that your target audiences that you've established, what platforms they use. Depending on that, will help you determine what types of graphics, what types of content you need to push. And I would definitely recommend telling your content around the interests of your audience. What we do at GDOT is, as you look at our social media channels, we try to be creative. We think outside of the box, and we don't really take ourselves seriously. So we try to poke fun of ourselves, and people really gravitate to that. And one of the things we found is that this has worked well for us. People they're in on the joke. And so that has really worked well in terms of reaching our target audience and pushing out effective content. And just keep in mind that, any ad that you push, you basically have less than 7 seconds, around 7 seconds to capture your target audience's interest. So keep that in mind. You want to, whatever you push on your social media channels or in digital, just make sure that it catches their attention quickly. So, I want to talk about some of the benefits of what we found in terms of paid digital. First of all, is great return on investment. For just a little bit of money, you get a lot of impressions, a lot of feedback, a lot of clicks to your website and materials. You're able to target the messaging to specific audiences. You get quick results. So just by using paid digital, you can go into the analytics, quickly see, how well those ads are performing. It's definitely a good way to increase your agency's awareness in terms of people understanding that you're out there, that you're pushing out quality information. And then you also improve in public engagement. It gives people, again, the ability to click on your content, to go and visit your websites, to look at your videos, to look at all of your content. And then also you can track performance in real time. So if you see that an ad isn't working, you can actually go in and you can make changes in real time and push that out and see how well that performs. So I want to get into some of our campaigns. Our biggest digital ad investment was for a campaign to alert commuters, about upcoming lane closures on one of our busiest interstates in Metro Atlanta. And these lane closures impacted nearly 250,000 motorists that use this interstate on a daily basis. And so one of the things that we found is over a 3-month period, we pushed out 22 ads that garnered over 4 million impressions across the slate of all of our digital platforms. Now, what you see here is I just kind of did a summary of by the numbers in terms of just what we've done in terms of paid digital since 2020. We've done a total of 9 campaigns. We've averaged about 7 ads per campaign. Usually the duration of these campaigns is around 3 months. And the average cost is just under $1,800. Now, that is really because we had one campaign that we spent over, I think, about $7,000 on. The majority of our campaigns are around $500 per campaign. So again, with just a little money, you can get a lot of bang for your buck. So I want to highlight some of the digital ad platforms that we've used since 2020. Of course, social media is going to be king when it comes to pushing anything digital. We use Facebook and Instagram ads. We've gotten a lot of success using Google Display Ads. Matter of fact, we have reached quite a few people using this format. YouTube advertising, we've pushed several ads on YouTube, and again, we've received a lot of success using that platform. Text messaging, Spotify, Waze are some of the new platforms that we're using. We've used those for very specific reasons, for very specific projects, and that's worked very, very well for us. And this is just to kind of give you an idea of how we've used some of these paid digital platforms. So we've pushed out about 45 ads on social. As I said before, social is always going to be king. We pushed only about 5 ads on Google Display. But again, that's performed very, very, very well for us. So I want to get into some of the performance metrics. So as far as paid social, the average reach in terms of the campaigns that we participated in, it's about a little bit over 92,000. Average engagement is over 16,000. And as far as link clicks to our web pages, it's been over 6,000. Now, when it comes to Google Display Ads and YouTube ads, again, as I mentioned before, we've had a lot of success. Matter of fact, the performance data for Google Display Ads, which has averaged over 2 million impressions across 2 campaigns, that's been great for us. As far as YouTube ads, we've received impressions totaling over 20 million, and had link clicks to our content totaling almost 5,000, and that's just for 4 ads, actually. So just within 4 ads, we've had over 20 million impressions, which I think is really, really good. I'm going to kind of highlight some of the examples of what we've done. This first project is our Transform 285-400 project. In matter of fact, in 2022, we were set to temporarily close 4 lanes along one of our business highways in Georgia. This would have been a major impact in terms of mobility in Metro Atlanta. And we anticipated profound delays and disruptions for motorists. So we used the following ads to promote the new traffic configuration. The paid campaigns included the use of photo ads, carousel ads, and video ads to generate project awareness through the informational videos and to drive traffic to the project website. This actually sent a message of profound delays, and what we tried to do was work with project partners to lead a better than expected results. And so what we've done with this campaign is doing a 3-month campaign period. We ran over 20 ads, mostly on Google Display, Waze, and on social media. Again, we received over 4 million impressions for this campaign and over 16,000 link clicks to our website. So the second example I want to show you is for our State Route 316 Bundle 1 and Bundle 2 project. This is a project that takes place in our Northeast region of Georgia. And over a 3-month period, we conducted 2 ad campaigns with the goal to increase awareness and underscore the benefits of this project, while encouraging the public to visit our project website and participate in upcoming live virtual meetings. Now, just with an investment of $300, we received a total engagement of over 14,000. Again, and we just pushed this out on Facebook and Instagram. This is an example of something that we pushed out for our I-16, I-95 improvement project in Southeast Georgia. The goals for this ad were to develop awareness campaign to increase visibility of the opening of the new turbine bridge ramp for motorists within the area and to drive traffic to the project website. We actually developed 2 ad campaigns that targeted a different audience base. The first set targeted highly populated areas to capture individuals with potential to frequently pass through this corridor. And the second targeted hyperlocal individuals that live maybe within the project limits and drove through this route every day. So we ran a total of 2 ads that led to close to 10,000 link clicks and a total investment of $450. So again, not a lot of money spent, but a lot of impact. And this was pushed on Facebook and Instagram. So as far as best practices, what we found is that number one, you need to create data-driven goals when you're establishing your goals. Identify your target audience early. You spend the time and do the research to understand who your target audience is, what the interests are. Also invest in the right digital platform. There's so many out there. I mentioned Facebook and Instagram, but we're also using Google Display Ads. We're using YouTube ads that have worked really well for us. We're using Spotify and Waze and some of these other digital platforms that may be unique to certain DOTs. Also, give the audience content that is interesting. Again, you want to kind of pique their interest. You want to speak directly to them. So, before you even push that out, I would, look at what feedback you've gotten from your target audience and base your content around that. And then don't be afraid to test different content and ad types. You can use a combination of static graphics or videos or photo carousels to push out your content. And then last, constantly check ad performance. You can go in and you can check this on a daily basis. If you see something that's not performing well for you, you can always go back in and make adjustments, make changes to the ads, maybe even make changes to the frequency in which ads are pushed out, and then go back and test again. Again, this is, all of this is done in real time, and we've done this in the past and seen a lot of success with doing it this way. And that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Ron. Again, hold off till the end, everybody. I've got a couple questions in. Keep asking them. Don't hold off asking them. But I will have a slide with everybody's contact info here at the end. So thank you very much, Ron. Jennifer, you're up. And you're on mute.
Okay, let's try this again. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Yes, I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of a continuation of what Carol and Ron were chatting about. The slide that I'm showing right now has one of my favorite quotes on it, and I use this slide and this quote pretty much on every presentation I give that talks about social media, because it's so true in the world that we are living in right now. Being effective at social media, whether for business or personal use, means capturing people who have short attention spans. They're only a click away from a picture of a funny cat, so you have to make your thing more compelling than a cat, and that can be a high bar. And Ron kind of chatted about this a little bit in his presentation, where he mentioned, people really only have 7 seconds that they're going to pay attention. So when we're thinking about, social advertising, which is what BDOT mostly does, we mostly are just on Facebook, Instagram for our paid campaign advertising. There's a lot that we are up against. We are up against, TikTok videos of cats, puppies. So trying to make our ads stop the scroll is something that we try to do. So at VDOT, these are our statewide social channels. We're on all the major social channels. We have districts that have X and Facebook accounts. We have a careers channel, and we also have channels for some of our special projects. Like Ron was mentioning, most of our advertising is also just on on Facebook and Instagram, but we will post organically to these other social channels. We've had a lot of success posting reminders and project updates to Reddit, and that's one of the channels that we really get a lot of great feedback on. So for paid digital ads, we mostly, these are kind of the buckets that we have campaigns or ads about. It's really those updates about major projects, a statewide campaign, public input meetings where we want, the general public to know about stuff that's happening in their community, and just general surveys. And most of our ads are geo-targeted by zip code. And I'm going to show you just a couple of different examples of some of the types of ads that we have pushed out in the past. So these are examples of project updates. The ad on the left, the expect major delays on 95. There was a major bridge project taking place in downtown Richmond. The start of that project was coinciding with the beginning of General Assembly, and also a former president coming into town whose motorcade would have to go through this construction area. Our traffic engineers looked at, best case, worst case scenario, worst case scenario, there could be, 10 to 20 mile delays in both directions. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to get information out to the public in time so they could plan ahead. The other ad talks about, closures at a bridge that were taking place. So for these project updates, a lot of times we will try to push advertising out, a week or two in advance to give the general public enough time to make changes to their plans. Some of our larger statewide campaigns have focused like around Work Zone Awareness Week, pushing out messaging about work zone safety, our toll relief campaign that we have done in the past. This campaign we have in previous years also used agencies, ad buyers, like what Carol was talking about at the beginning, to help us, get those newspaper ads in, get the billboards needed, get those radio spots, because that can be a lot for one person to, think about all of those different places where ads might be effective. And so the toll relief campaign, this is an example of an ad that was used alongside print, environmental, billboards, radio. So it was all tied into one cohesive project. So for public meetings, this slide, I wanted to show you just kind of the difference that putting a couple $100s behind a paid ad has. The slide on the left, was just a organic post to Facebook. It didn't get a lot of traction. The ad on the other side, you can see, we had a lot of comments, a lot of shares, a lot of feelings people had about this. And when you have those paid ads, you can see all of, you get that great information, those great metrics, which are really helpful in planning future campaigns and future ads. It lets you see, I did, A/B testing for some of these ads, and it shows you like, hey, this style of graphic tends to get more traction than this style of graphic. This style of video tends to get more traction than this style of video. So that's something that we try to incorporate sometimes with our paid advertising, is that A/B testing. And then, as I mentioned earlier, most of our paid campaigns are related to surveys. We run a lot of surveys. Our project pipeline survey right now is, we have about 40 ads running for that project. We have smaller projects that might have 5 or 10 different ads running for them. So we put a lot of emphasis on social ads for surveys to get feedback from the general public. And then the graphic that I have in the middle is a survey that it was a little bit different than some of our other surveys, because it was a statewide survey. So that one was not really geo-targeted like some of these other surveys are. For the other surveys, we geo-target them by zip code to try to make sure that we are addressing the correct audience, because nobody wants to see an ad about someplace that they do not live. They don't want to see an ad about a different city and asking feedback. They don't want to see that. So we try to make sure that these ads are geo-targeted towards the local area. And then just some lessons learned is have an organized process. It's like what Carol was mentioning, one of the, benefits of having an ad buyer is you're only paying that one person at the end. You only have like that one invoice. So having an organized process has helped me a lot. And like, so my process, just so you can get a little bit into like my brain, is like spreadsheets and checklists. Like my little like checklist diary book like keeps me sane, going through just all the different steps that are involved in creating an ad, whether it's tracking those bitly links, making sure that you have invoices, that you have graphics that are sized, vertical, horizontal, that you have GIFs, MP4s, whatever type of graphic or video asset that you need, that you have all of that correctly sized for your ad. Something else that I've learned with the process of Facebook ads is to make sure that you check your Facebook ads manager daily. I know it's happened to myself and some other colleagues that I've talked to as well, that sometimes Facebook might turn an ad off in the middle of the run because they might flag it as being inappropriate or political. So just go in and make sure that those ads are still running every day. And review your comments daily, because even though you might have 20 comments or 100 or 200 comments, a lot of times you might find people asking questions in those comments, and just being able to provide a little bit of customer service really helps, put your agency in a better light. Just, being able to be like, hey, thanks for your comment, let's talk to customer service about that. We can help you, with that pothole, with that incident. And then I know Ron mentioned this as well, have a variety of graphics, video, and text to prevent that ad fatigue. Because if you're running the same campaign for possibly a month, that means a lot of people are going to be seeing that exact same graphic or that exact same text for an entire month. So I like to switch up my graphics, my text, typically, once a week if possible, once every other week, to try to make sure that people are not getting tired of seeing the exact same ad. So those are just kind of some of the lessons that I've learned. And I think, using social media, everyone is on social media. So definitely use social media to your advantage. And it only takes, $100 to reach a really large audience. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Okay, we have one more speaker, John, whenever you're ready. And then we'll get to Q&A. We've got plenty of questions all queued up. So go ahead, John.
Perfect. Thank you, Maggie. Good afternoon, everybody. It was really great to see how Ron and Jennifer, how your DOTs are using digital advertising for project information. At WISDOT, we're using it for some of that, but actually for safety awareness, and which dovetails really well into Secretary Thompson, AASHTO presidency, and one of his main goals is improving safety through using data. And so we look at the data and we try to address some of the safety needs that our data folks have. And at Wisconsin DOT, we're a little unique in that we have the Wisconsin State Patrol under our DOT. And so the state police force who are patrolling highways are part of the DOT. And so that creates unique and interesting communication opportunities. And so with that, we have the Bureau of Transportation Safety under our state patrol umbrella. This is Wisconsin State Highway Safety Office, and manages outreach and through some of our digital advertising to really try to reduce fatalities and crashes on our highways. And under that, we have the Zero in Wisconsin campaign, which is the overarching way that we talk about safety, trying to reduce fatalities to zero is our goal. And then we have these other campaigns underneath Zero in Wisconsin. Some of them familiar to folks as their national campaigns, but we have Buckle Up, Phone Down, which our secretary saw other states using and thought distracted driving is an issue. So let's try to address that through the Buckle Up, Phone Down campaign. Control Your Drive is a reckless driving awareness campaign. We do a lot with click it or ticket and drive sober or get pulled over through our state patrol folks, and then Share the Road is a motorcycle safety awareness campaign. And so some of the results that we're seeing, or some of the campaigns that we're seeing through this, the Control Your Drive campaign is a new one for us, launched in October of 2024. We identified through data, reckless driving, as many states have saw this through the pandemic, and then afterward, unsafe driving behavior skyrocketing. We saw that in Wisconsin, and our state patrol was issuing tickets for folks going 100 miles per hour. It doubled from 2020 to 2021, the amount of folks just choosing to drive that fast and getting pulled over. And then in Milwaukee specific is where we were seeing the reckless driving issues. And so we, through our Bureau of Transportation Safety, formed a partnership with the Milwaukee Bucks and identified fan favorite Bobby Portis, who's the sixth man, up for the sixth man of the year this year in the NBA, but a great spokesperson for this campaign. And really the idea is control your drive on the court to be an effective player, control your drive on the roads to be an effective driver. And
Hey,
so
John,
that,
I'm sorry to interrupt. We don't see your screen.
Oh.
So if you'll just hit the share screen there. No, that's okay. We just don't want to miss out.
So many buttons to hit. I forgot that one. Okay. So we're good. And I think we're on the Control Your Drive slide. My apologies.
Yes,
there.
We see it now.
So again, the partnership with the Bucks and the player, trying to get this message in Milwaukee specific through online advertising, TV, broadcasts, and radio spots. And then the ads are playing in the Bucks arena for each home game. And so we reach about 1 million fans through the partnership in the arena. And then through that partnership, we also have some social media influencing where the Bucks and the player will share WISDOT posts on Control Your Drive. And the recent shares through our campaign hit about 190,000 impressions. And I believe this was part of the March Madness campaign. So we had a new round of ads airing during March Madness. And that's how the social media partnership came through. The Click It or Ticket partnership, again, we've identified a spokesperson for this through our Bureau of Transportation Safety, Donald Driver, a famous Packer player now retired, with the perfect last name for a safe driving campaign. And he's very passionate about safety and has been a great spokesperson. This partnership has lasted about 10 years, which started as more of an in-person type of thing where we had advertisements with Donald Driver going out and meeting folks and putting the message out himself. We've adapted that into an animated video series, which through some research, we see that the animated ads do well on social media. And so that's the current ad rate. And Click It or Ticket is one of our most recognizable safety campaigns. I think A, because it's a national campaign, B, because Donald Driver has just become such a well-known spokesperson for this. And you see some of the results there through the digital advertising, TV, radio, and then through social media, again, with some of the influencer partnership with Donald Driver and the Packers sharing some of our messaging. I'm fast forwarding through the videos, I think, just in the nature of time. And Maggie, as you know, I had some issues with audio earlier as well.
But I will say that you all won a Transcom award last year for, let's see, which one was it? The Control Your Drive campaign. So you can go on the Transcom website and see that from there as well.
Perfect. Thank you for plugging that. And of course, Wisconsin DOT YouTube, all of these videos are up there as well. And we share them across our social media. Another partnership that we leverage paid advertising is for work zone safety, and very timely this week. But we have a partnership with the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association. And so they're the overarching body of all the broadcasters in Wisconsin, so TV and radio. And so through that partnership, we produce ads and social media messages that then gets shared through the Broadcasters Association to all the TV and radio stations in the state. And that's about a $75,000 commitment annually for us, but we see some really great returns on this. We've been doing it since 2021. We put together a digital ad and then social media that all the broadcasters in the state are sharing. And we just started a new radio campaign in coordination with Work Zone Awareness Week. So at the top of this week, we had new radio ads going out. And then some of the social media success that we saw was around our July 4th travel messaging last year. So we would identify which work zone safety message do we want the broadcasters to share. We knew that TV and radio were really excited for the 4th of July. There was great weather in Wisconsin that weekend. Folks would be traveling. There were weather stories and travel stories everywhere. So we leveraged that into a social media post on our channels about a July 4th travel outlook. And so we put this out at the beginning of the week leading into the holiday weekend. Where are the key projects that may impact your commute? What are the safety messages and ways that you can get around those projects? We shared that through the broadcasters partnership, and through that, using them as our influencers and their several 100,000 followers through Facebook and other places, we reached 2.7 million people through those broadcaster sites. And so we thought great success on getting a work zone safety message out there. And so we'll continue the work zone safety partnership. Again, I mentioned we have the radio spots that started this week, and then we'll continue to target one per quarter social media ads that we will be sharing through the broadcasters partnership. That's worked really well for us. And then the last thing I'll touch on, this was just a bit of a unique one for us and more of a social media grassroots thing where we did this ourselves out of the Office of Public Affairs. I mentioned we have State Patrol under the DOT here. They have a recruitment committee, and they recruit new inspectors and troopers once per year through a big recruitment period. They identified some needs there. We were getting lower quality of candidates, not enough candidates. We wanted more diversity in candidates. And so could we put together a campaign to help reflect who we are and personalize our officers? We're not just officers with hats and badges, but we're people. We might be a hockey coach, we might be in a band, and can we reflect that through some of our videos and social media? And so we put together this campaign. We are Wisconsin State Patrol. And so again, not just an officer, but we are you. We want the community to see themselves reflected in the ads and see themselves working for State Patrol. And so through sort of a coordinated approach on video, social media ads, posters, recruitment materials for career fairs, it's all branded under that umbrella of We Are State Patrol. And the unique piece of this was social media advertising. We spent just a little bit of money through Facebook with the intent of trying to recruit folks from outside of Wisconsin. So I'll go down to 2022. The leadership there said, what can we do through social media to increase folks from other states, maybe who hadn't considered a career in Wisconsin? And then to help with some of our diversity issues, can we advertise maybe in some southern states near historically Black colleges and universities who have law enforcement programs, folks who may not ever see themselves working in Wisconsin, but could we reach some of those folks? And so in 2022, we spent a little over $600 on Facebook ads, targeting some of the Midwest states and then those southern cities. And we saw 6 applicants come from the southern states. And so we thought that was a minor success in some of that outreach, a low amount of money to pay, and I think just putting the brand and the Wisconsin State Patrol out. We had 6 applicants, and I think, I couldn't confirm this before today, I think we hired one from Tallahassee. So I think somebody got through that process and result from those ads, which we really thought was a success. And then last year in 2023, we just targeted the Midwest and Wisconsin. Focused on cities like Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, Des Moines, Iowa, outside of Wisconsin, but in our surrounding communities. And we received 37 applications from those Midwest states, and we actually hired 3 of those folks. And so it's a strategy that we've identified, something that we can keep going forward with State Patrol recruiting, but maybe there are ways for us to also take that into engineer recruitment. We know those are issues that all DOTs are facing, and other ways to advertise outside of the state. And so that's all I've got. I appreciate the time today, and I'll turn it over to you, Maggie.
Thank you, John, and thanks to all of our speakers. I think, you know, the point of Transcom and these webinars is that in this instance, we have practitioners who have used this and tried this, but I'm making a plug for future webinars here. You don't have to be the end-all be-all expert and know everything about this. I think whatever topic we're talking about, because we just want to hear from folks that have tried things and what has been your experience. And that's really the great thing about Transcom. We're lucky today to have 4 people that have really gone through this and seen successes and lessons learned that we all benefit from. So thanks to all of our speakers. We have plenty of questions. So I'm gonna start, just roll into the ones that have been submitted here. Ron, this came during your presentation, so I'm gonna send this to you, but I think it goes to everybody as well. Did you target your campaign solely on location, or did you use other factors to get your exact audiences when you talked about the importance of your audience?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. Location, and especially when you're talking about projects in Metro Atlanta, on the top end of 285, that's a very specific area. So yeah, we targeted that particular regional location, but then we also targeted what our target audience is interested in. And then identifying who that target audience is in terms of commuters, a combination of commuters, residents, business owners, different organizations that operate within that region. That was very important to identify because it's not just motorists. That's a heavily populated area, top end of Metro Atlanta. So we wanted to make sure that we captured everybody.
Great. Anybody else want to weigh in on that, or are we all in agreement? Perfect. Thank you, Ron. Next question is, we talked a little bit about the importance of using a media buyer when we can, but for the states not using a media buyer, did you have to get around using a credit card for ads on social media or Google? This particular person's state DOT does not allow credit card use, and it's a barrier to putting out paid ads on social media. That's a very interesting point. Any input on that one? Or anyone on the call have similar? Go ahead, Ron.
So we've actually used consultants for when we do paid digital. So we have a similar issue where we can't use credit cards, at least state DOT credit cards. So we've actually worked through consultants to do that. I don't know if that's an option for whoever submitted that question, but that would be one of my recommendations.
Great, thank you. Another question, what are agencies with traveler information systems doing to increase usage of the websites, apps, etc.? Any best practices with regard to 511 traveler information advertising?
I'll jump on this one again. What I didn't have an opportunity to include in my presentation is we've also done paid digital around 511. In terms of, we just launched a new app. I think it's been 3 years now since we've launched that app. And so we did some paid digital around that, trying to get new subscribers, educating them about the bells and whistles of our new app, our new web. We actually revitalized our website. We revamped it around that same time, added some new features on the website as well. And so we wanted to drive more traffic to the website and then educate travelers, about the benefits of using our app. And unfortunately, I don't have any data to show you, but I do know just in terms of what I've seen across my desk, that really worked well for us in terms of driving more traffic to the website. We got significantly more subscribers to the 511 app. I would definitely recommend anybody who's thinking about doing paid digital, especially if you've added some new features on your website or you have new maps or new bells and whistles on your app, to definitely to do paid digital. Again, just for a little money, and I don't really have the numbers in front of me, but I would say around maybe $500 or less is what we used, and we got a lot of great feedback and a lot of great traffic to our website.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. I saw you unmuted. Yep.
Yeah. So in Virginia, we have sometimes around like inclement weather, we might push out reminders about our 511 system and, remind, the public that is a feature to check before they travel. And similar to Ron, we have also in the past posted social ads about downloading the 511 app. And we did, create one ad for Android users, one ad for Apple users. So it was targeted to, if somebody's using a iPhone, they would hopefully only see the ad to download the iPhone version of the app. And I think that was pretty successful. You know, we did get a lot of good traction on that, and we didn't spend a lot of money. I think we spent $500 on a campaign to download the app. And I think we did that on 511 day. So May 11th, I think we did that.
Great, thank you. Another question from the chat. What's the minimum, and Carol, I see you've been monitoring this too and answering questions as we go along. Thank you. What's the minimum dollar amount you'd recommend spending on an ad for social media to see results? And the minimum amount of time you'd run one? Any good responses come back to comments complaining about state government spending money on ads?
I could jump in quick. Just to go back to that recruitment piece that we saw for State Patrol, I think we were doing $25 ads over, I think, 1 or 2 week periods. So very small amount over 1 or 2 weeks. I think just reaching between 6,000 and 10,000 people, and that was more of a test run. And we ended up seeing, you know, the engagement and getting some results there. So I think even a small spend like that would work for you. And I guess just to quickly go back to the 511 thing, I should have jumped in earlier, but I don't know if states have their own 511 Twitter accounts that we do here in Wisconsin. And so that's one way, marketing through our 511 account, and then through all of our regional Twitter accounts from our region engineering sites, just using a steady social media calendar of promoting 511 through all of our channels and trying to, you know, drive those folks to download those apps. Just wanted to throw that into.
Jennifer, Ron, or Carol on the minimum dollar amount and minimum amount of time?
Yeah, similar to what John and Ron were saying, I mean, for some of our ads, we haven't spent that much. Typically, most of our ads, we try to run for at least a week, you know, depending on what the project is for, what the campaign is for, and depending on the audience. You know, if we're hitting a large metropolitan area, you know, we might put in a little bit more money to reach a little bit wider audience. If it's a full statewide campaign, we'll spend a little bit more. But for a lot of our ads, currently for some of our surveys, we're running them for 2 weeks for $300 each. That's what a lot of our current surveys are at the moment.
Great, thank you. Carol?
I agree. If they're targeted correctly, they don't have to cost a lot of money. We've run campaigns that are $50,000, $500,000, but we've also run $250 for a week. And, you know, we've done that several times for recruitment in targeted areas. And we were critically short of traffic signal technicians in one area. And we got a ton of applications after just a week that turned into 4 real jobs. And the 4-person crew then doubled to an 8-person crew. So it was really impactful. So I don't know that there is a minimum.
Thank you, Carol. Ron, you want to weigh in on this to end us out here?
Yeah, you know, for us, it's between 300 and 500. And it really depends on the length of the campaign and who you're trying to target. Again, most of our campaigns have been done in Metro Atlanta, a very targeted audience, again, around between 300 and 500, even though we've done upwards of 7,000 for some of our bigger campaigns. But I think, you know, if you're doing this over a month, which is a good range, I would say 300 to 500.
Great. All right. Well, I think those were all the questions I had from the audience, which is perfect because it's 3:01 and I want to be respectful of people's time. So once again, thank you all for joining us. Huge thanks to our panel. I really appreciate talking about this because this is something that keeps coming up as something that would, you know, be very, very helpful to our members here. So we've recorded this webinar. I'm going to trim off some of the beginning here and put it on the Transcom website, which again, transportation.org /K Communications. We're going to have information on our May edition of the webinar very shortly here with registration up. So on behalf of Transcom and our members, I want to thank all of you today, all of our presenters, and for all of you for tuning in to this month's webinar. And I hope you got everybody's emails if you have any questions, or reach out to me and I can connect you. So thank you, everyone. Have a great day.